doing her project for motivational strategies at level 2, active listening. The title is Sharing Self-Care, and today Amanda will be facilitating table topics for her active listening project. This project aims for Amanda to demonstrate her ability to listen to what others say. Her table topic theme today is a passion of hers, self-care. Take it away, Amanda. And please record. Do we need to record?
We're recording. Thanks, Coach Lisa.
Oh, we did it already.
Welcome, everybody, to Self-Care Thursday. If you've ever followed me on social media, mainly Instagram, you would have seen me in the last couple of months display this really beautiful self-care toolbox. In this toolbox, I encourage people to have a toolkit of different tools for self-care because we need different things at different times. And something that I use, you might not know about it. And so I think it's really important for us to share different ideas on how we take care of it ourselves. In today's table topic session, don't forget to use the word of the day, esteem. And I will be doing my active listening. So let's get ready to our extended table topic session today. Okay, I wanted more excitement. Our first question today. What does self-care mean to you? And why is it important in our daily lives? Diane.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics. I am so esteemed to be selected for this question because I believe self-care is so powerful for being able to give yourself to the people who are important to you in your life. For example, my daughter is, one of the most important people to me in my life. And as a mother, it can be really challenging because you have to give so much of yourself. There's no breaks unless, you have a person that is, a lot more, apologies, let me back up. It's really tough to take breaks even when you have another parent in the house. I think mothers are in a unique position where kids kind of seek us out for some of the more nurturing things. And in order to be the best mom that I can be for my daughter, I have to really focus on self-care and making sure that my cup is full. So that way she can take a little bit more out of it every day. And I use different strategies to keep refilling my cup and trying to be the best mom I can be for her. Some of the things that help me are to make sure that I'm taking care of my health and fitness. That is a big piece of self-care for me. Making sure I have good sleep hygiene, having even just a small window of time every day where I can, read a book or play video games or watch something on TV can be really powerful as long as it's intentional time for myself. That's what self-care looks like for me. And back to you, Madam Table Topics.
Thank you, Diane. I liked how you spoke about the filling your cup analogy. I think that's one of the first things that we talk about to help people understand the importance. But I loved how you spoke about how you filled up your cup, your different activities. And I'll have to ask you later what video games you like to play because I'm looking for some new ones. That's awesome. Our next question is, I had this intriguing question while I was thinking about preparing for today's session. And the next question I wanted to find out, we have such a diverse group in our club of different backgrounds. And I like to ask the question first, but it's a bit hard. Nuru, coming from Pakistan, what do they do differently when it comes to self-care in the East to what we do in the West? I want to know something that you've seen in the East that you need to tell the West to do. That's really important for self-care. And you're muted.
Thank you, Amanda, for the question. So self-care for the East and the West. I'll just compare self-care, how my mother used to care about herself, and the esteem kind of people of the West, how they take care of themselves. My mother, from growing up, I remember that she got up at 5 in the morning and took a shower, because we pray 5 times a day. So in the morning, she took a shower and prayed. So she was all clean. She wore clean clothes. And then she would go in the kitchen and cook something. And then at 12 o'clock, she would go and do the wazoo, which is also cleaning of your hands, face, and everything. So you were basically cleaning your body till the time sunset, till the time you went to sleep. And that was a great way of cleaning your body. You wouldn't smell. And she changed her clothes twice a day. I noticed that. And then when I came to the West, I only took one shower. And sometimes I forgot my prayers. So I didn't do the wazoo that they perform before praying. And for self-care, I watched my food. My mother never watched her food, because I think that she always ate homemade food. So that is the main difference. I think when we go to pray, we clean our hands, we clean our neck, we clean our whole entire body, and we change our clothes, because now we are performing rituals to Allah. So that's the biggest difference between East and West self-care. Back to you.
Thank you, Nuru. I love the intentionality that your mom, and I guess the culture, has when it comes to making prayer such an important part and of the day, that everything else that seems like it's centered around that. And the cleansing. I know when I go to meditate, I'm not necessarily cleansing myself, but I really love that. That's awesome. Speaking of meditation, it is one of my favorite things to do as a form of self-care. Last year, I took up a 90-day meditation challenge to meditate an hour a day consecutively for 90 days. I reached 113 days. And it was absolutely amazing and life-changing. What is your interpretation, and how do you find, and how would you get somebody, probably not, I could probably thought of better words, get someone to actually learn the value to meditate? Ernesto.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. So if I'm understanding this correctly, your question is about understanding the value of meditation. Is this correct?
Yes. And how would you get someone to meditate? Teach them the value. Yes.
Perfect. All right, great. So I actually deal with this issue every single day in my professional life, but it doesn't have anything to do with meditation. It actually deals with proselytizing. And as I'm sure Benita can tell us, having to do with the history of, her faith and everything else that's gone on over time, that this is a definite issue that we have to deal with. And so what I'm doing in my work is I do astrology, but I do it one way that's very, very specific and works because it's been scientifically vetted. Everything else that comes afterward is just a whole lot of crap that people waste their time on. And do I judge the heck out of everybody by doing that other stuff? Absolutely, yes, 1,000,000%. It's sort of like, I am literally offering you the key to the universe here, the solutions to all of life's biggest problems. Now, why are you ignoring me and wanting to spend all of this other time and energy with all of these other people? Similar type of thing happens with meditation. is that it is such an esteemed process, something that a lot of us don't want to get involved with because we're too busy, because we just don't like the way that it works. But what we find out is that it's actually kind of miraculous when you get into it. Just forking do it. It is truly the easiest advice that I could give you, because I went sugar free, right? I thought I was being punished. I thought this is insanity to go sugar free. And then when I found out that all of my hunger cravings went away, and now I'm actually able to judge my hunger based off of how I'm feeling, that was life changing. So that sort of washed away all of the feelings of feeling punished by going sugar free. Similar thing with meditation. I'm punished to sit here and do my work right now, or I could find the enjoyment and the stillness of this moment. It's just a shift in mindset. That's all we have to do with ourselves. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Ernesto. I missed a key word that you said right at the start. I think it was an audio issue, but I did like that you were talking about people are coming to you for guidance, but they don't want to hear what you have to say because of their own blockages. And I understand, as somebody who works in a profession of helping people with their daily lives, that it is frustrating when you say, here is a key. All you have to do is unlock the door and you can have what you want, but they don't want to put the key in the door. So that was we'll work on that and necessary together in our professional lives. Okay, let me go back to our questions. So in our for today's fast-paced world, as you were speaking about this, why do you think many people neglect self-care? What are the consequences of the neglect? Let's go to Greg.
Okay, madam. People talk to there are many.
No. Sorry, Greg, we're having an audio issue with you right now, which I've never had from you before.
How about that? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
Nope.
So, no,
Oh,
still no?
no, go
No?
now.
No.
Cutting in, cutting out.
You're good.
The now I forget the question. The
Neglect.
benefits?
The why why do you think people neglect self-care? I actually
Okay.
really wanted to know why, as a man, we put such an emphasis on women with self-care, but maybe you want to add in as a man what self-care means to you.
Like that. I
Change of
think I could
question.
come at that from that angle. I think in general, we are taught that doing is our value. What we do, what we accomplish, how much money we make, how many kids we have, how busy we are. That a lot of times comes across as our value to the world. And maybe it's not. Maybe we do need, it's been said, fill your cup so that you can fill others. And especially as men, we're taught to kind of overlook that, push down our feelings, suck it up, be a man, you know, just walk it off. And self-care isn't really taught, or at least when I was growing up, it wasn't really taught or emphasized, which probably led to some of my anxieties, my self-esteem issues, my self-confidence issues when I was younger, and perfectionism. You have to be perfect to be loved or to be worthy or to be. So this whole idea of meditation, yoga, relaxation, washing, they do all feed into the more you have, the more you can give. If you have more, you can give more. You get more, you have more, you give more. So I think if it were twisted a little bit and presented in that way, that the value, and especially maybe to men, we would get it. You want to do more, right? Okay, you need to take care of yourself to be able to do more for others. You need to take care of yourself to be able to make more money or work more hours or be a better husband or a father, whatever that is. I think that to men would come across as a logical kind of, I want to say, excuse, reason to take care of ourselves more often then maybe we do. That is my thought on that, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Greg. It's so interesting. And I don't know what the generation of men, boys growing up today, but it's interesting to hear that if you had have been taught self-care, it might have helped you with those other areas of your life. And I really hope, I know, Shin, Sarah, Benita have young boys. I really hope that that's what's being taught to them these days. Because Greg, we think you're amazing. And if you had been taught that, how much more amazing could you be? Okay, Deanne, are you there? Are you ready for a question? You're a guest,
Yes,
and
I am.
usually guests get an option, but you don't get an option because you joined Speechcraft.
I would like to try. That's why I'm here.
Awesome. Are there any misconceptions about self-care that you would like to address? Any common myths you've encountered?
Thank you for the question. In general, I don't think I have encountered any misconception about self-care. But in general, I would say a lot of people would think that self-care is just about laying around and just doing nothing, and you actually just care about yourself. And it's not in a way, it is true because you actually do things for yourself. But in order to care for people, like Greg said earlier, that you need to be able to feel good about yourself. You need to be able to give. And if you don't care about yourself, if you don't take time for yourself, then you don't have anything to give. So that's why what I am trying to do is that I try to encourage my family member, try to encourage my husband, my esteemed colleagues at work, and all the people around me. Just take time just for yourself. Either you do things that in general, place you don't have to go to a spa, you don't have to go to get your nail done, or go to play golf, all these fancy things, right? You just do basic stuff. You just care about yourself. Just spend maybe 5 minutes a day. Just think about what you enjoy about your day. Just very basic thing that it's, to me, it's important. And that people think that it's the misconception. I think people would say that self-care meaning that you have to do fancy things.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for participating today. It's so good to see you again. And I loved how you weren't sure about how to answer the question, but by going through that thought process, you actually came to the question. And I knew I was challenging you today because I knew I wanted to challenge you today. I knew you could handle it. So I love that you came full circle to be like, actually, no, this is the misperception. And we just need to go, it doesn't have to be fancy. So thank you. And I know you have a busy schedule, so I hope you're putting that self-care in through double time tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've still got good for time. Let's see. When you're so busy with a family, with work, with Toastmasters, with all the commitments, what do you do to schedule in self-care? And what does that look like for you? Shin?
Thank you, Madam Table Topic Master. I'm busy many times, not because I have so many things to handle, but many times it's because I have one person in my life that always causes a lot of trouble. And that is the male in my family at this point. And he's 11 years old. Unlike Greg, who is so mature, introverted, and knows how to handle everything. My boy has his own self-care principles, and which are totally or opposite from my points. For example, taking a shower. Taking a shower, isn't that a good self-care practice for everyone? Common sense, right? You don't need to go to 5 times a day, like Nuru has a strict ritual to follow. I'm just asking him to do 1 time a day. Then I slip back to maybe 3 times a week. And now it's twice a week. And he kept pushing me. He kept pushing me. And now once a week is like a daydream for me. And the other day I read an article talking about esteemed old person. That person hasn't been taking shower for 40 years in his life. He has been surviving super well. He can drink water just from anywhere. He is good. Unfortunately, that person died because people are trying to treat him nicely and get him to take a shower after more than 40 years of no showering. So that makes me wonder, self-care, sometimes we have a lot of misconcept, right? Maybe self-care can be done in a different way than we always think. Maybe it's just that when you think there's only one key to a door, maybe there are multiple keys to the same door. It's just nonsense. Sorry. Back to you, Madam Table Topic Master.
You should. I'm glad we were able to allow you this opportunity to get off your chest what you clearly needed to get off. And maybe what Greg said was teaching him the value of giving back to cleansing himself, maybe taking some new rituals. Maybe your son might take the shower. Does I don't know. I think he's in grade school, right? Like the boys smell when they don't shower. Is that maybe that's a cool thing these days? I'm so out of the loop. Shin, we hope you work it out. We send you blessings. Now, I know a business can be such a feel like self-care. Actually, when you're doing the activity on your business that you love so much, that it feels like you're doing self-care, but it is also your business at the same time. So this is really hard because I have these specific questions for specific people in this group, and you probably know where I'm going with this, Coach Lisa. Running is your jam, right? That's your thing. That fills your cup. I can see it fills your cup. That's obvious. But what else do you do to fill your cup so you show up the best for your clients?
Thank you, Madame Table Topics, esteemed Madame Table Topics Master. That's a great question. And I will say running is my life. So there are ways that I do still run and it's self-care for me. And that's usually when I'm running by myself. I love to run with people. I do that a lot, but that does take a lot of my energy. So when I am running by myself, that is truly time for me and it is self-care. Sometimes I'm listening to business podcasts, so maybe I'm still working. Not all the time though, but I do, as somebody who does struggle with this, owning a business and trying to make time for myself, I've learned one of the biggest things I've been working on is learning to set boundaries and say no. So just trying to be very self-aware. And the reason I am very self-aware is because of my meditation practice, which is probably one of my biggest reason, or one of the biggest things I do for self-care. As you mentioned, I meditate just about every morning. It's the first thing I do. I've never done an hour. I usually focus on 10 to 15 minutes. And I also say, I think meditating is the answer to everything, because once you're able to quiet your mind and not have your thoughts and emotions in the way, you just become self-aware. And there have been days, and Greg can attest to this, where I've been freaking out because I've got 50 million things going on. And I will literally say, I'm so self-aware that I'm freaking out right now. I just need to take a couple of deep breaths and I just need to sit down. So really, I truly do believe that meditating is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. And one of my other favorite self-care things I do is spending time with Greg in the evening, especially. That's our special time. I try not to schedule a lot of runs in the evening. Sometimes it happens that way, but I actually got him out to running for Brews on Tuesday. So he would get out the door, trying to encourage him to do a little self-care and socialize, which maybe that isn't self-care for him. I don't think so, actually, now that I think about it. But yes, meditation is the number one thing that I do for self-care that helps me get through everything. Back to you.
Thank you, Coach Lisa. Actually, that was not what I was expecting to hear from you, which I'm glad I asked you the question. I didn't know that you meditated every morning. That is awesome. And yeah, it doesn't need to be an hour. I was specifically having a really hard time through a season, so I pushed myself to do the hour, but definitely 10-15 minutes is really and Nestor would be blessed if he could get people to meditate for 2. I had a spiritual teacher tell me, can you just meditate for 2 minutes a day? Just 2, but 10 to 15 is a good time. So I hope everybody today has now found different ways to fill up your self-care toolbox. I'm going to use some of what you've said to create some more social media content. So I appreciate you. And I'm just going to be very honest that I did that and I needed that. And I hope everybody does something tonight for self-care. Last night, I had an Epsom salt bath with essential oils before going to bed, and I've woken up feeling really great today. Whether you meditate, wash yourself, get Shin's son to wash himself, whatever it is that you need to do for self-care time, please, no more misconceptions. Let's take care of ourselves and fill up that cup. Back to you, Madame Toastmaster. I'm like for the voting.
Thank you very much, Amanda, for that. If we could have a minute on the timer so that we can start writing our evaluation for Amanda. Again, in the chat, you will find the link to her evaluation, or you can also get an email to her with feedback.